Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Swati, working as Assistant Professor in Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department of Annamacharya University. Today, let us discuss about architecture of dbms. The architecture of dbms describes the overall structure and design of a database system. That means how data is stored, accessed, and managed. It also describes the interaction between users, applications, and the database. To ensure proper data security, integrity, and efficient data processing, the architecture will help us based upon the system design, like the integration of layers. The DBMS architecture is classified into one tier, two tier, three tier, and n tier architectures. So the main purpose of the DBMS architecture is to improve performance, scalability, and data management while allowing multiple users to access the database efficiently and securely. So let us discuss each architecture in detail. First, coming to the one-tier architecture, which is also called as standalone architecture. It is a most basic form of the database architecture. Here, as you can see, the database as well as the application both are integrated. That means they both are present in one single device. So it is called as one tier architecture. So here you can see the definition. The user interface, application processing logic, and database are all integrated within one single system or one computer. So here, as the application and the database both are present in one single system, the user can directly interact with the database through an application installed on the same machine without the involvement of separate server or network connection. So all the operations such as data entry, processing, storage, and retrieval take place locally. Next, the example for the one-tier architecture. If you observe the MS Access used on personal computers, if you open the Excel sheet or MS Access in your systems or mobile phones, then there you can see the database file is stored on their own computer. There is nothing but you open the application and directly access the data, everything which is inside the one machine. That means it is stored locally in the system. The other example is SQL Live database in a mobile app, which we can use in the offline mode. The third example is single user desktop payroll software. If you are running a small organization, then you can use the payroll software to pay the salaries to the employees. So what are the uses of one-tier architecture? It can be used for the learning purpose or some small personal applications, and as the application layer and database both are present in one single system, there is no network required. Now, coming to the two-tier architecture. The two-tier architecture is also called as client-server architecture. In this architecture, the application is divided into two layers, the client layer and the database layer. Here, the client will interact with the database tier with the help of application installed on the client machine, and the application directly communicates with the centralized database server. If you observe here, there is no network layer or intermediate connection between the client tier and the database tier. The client tier will be directly connected to the database tier. Here the client will handle the user interface, and some application processing. That is nothing but in the client layer, we will be having the user interface UI as well as some application processing. And the database tier or server tier it will be responsible for storing, managing and retrieving of the information. So here the communication between the client and server takes place over a network. We require small kind of network connection between client system and the server system. So this architecture is commonly used in organizational environments such as banks, libraries and college management systems where multiple users access a shared database. So it provides a better security, data sharing and performance when compared to the one-tier architecture. Because in one-tier architecture, if anything happens to the system, then both the database as well as the user application will crash. But coming to the two-tier architecture, where the presentation layer and database will reside in two different systems. If anything happens to one system, the other system will be safe. If anything happens to the user application, then the database will be safe. If anything happens to the database, then the client system is safe. User interface is safe. So it provides better security, data sharing and performance when compared to the one-tier architecture. However, as the number of users increases, system performance may decrease, making it less scalable than three-tier architecture. This is the disadvantage of two-tier architecture. So if you can see here, the example of banking application. So let us discuss about the banking application in two-tier architecture. So the bank employee accessing the bank database. It is the best example where the employee uses a banking application, that is a client system, and the database stored in a centralized server. When the user or the bank employee access the information, they can get the user data or customers data from the centralized server system. Then the client directly communicates with the database server. So this is the best example for the two-tier architecture. Here are some applications, that is nothing but applications run on client machine and database runs on a server machine. This is how the bank database will work. So the other examples are college lab computers connected to the central MySQL server, ATM machine connected directly to the bank database, library management system in a campus. So what are the uses of two-tier architecture? Multiple users need access and organizational level systems, and it can control the internal networks. Next, coming to the three-tier architecture. It is also called as multi-tier architecture. A three-tier architecture is called as a multi-tier architecture because we are introducing an additional layer in between the client system and the server system. So this additional layer is often known as the middle layer, the application server, or the middleware that contains the application and the business logic for data processing. So there is no need of direct communication between the client and the server as because of application layer is present. In this architecture, the client communicates with an application server and in turn the application server will communicate with the database, allowing the processing of queries and transaction management. At the end, the user is unaware that the database exists anywhere else than the application server. That means the application layer and database layer are present in two different systems. Now, the example for the three-tier architecture is the online shopping websites like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. So, how it can be a three-tier architecture? First, we will open our website, that is like Amazon or Flipkart, that is the user interface. Then we will send the request to the application server, that is nothing but adding a product to the cart. We will check the checklist and we will select a product, and here the application layer comes into the participation. It will check, process the order logic, and it interacts with the database whether that particular item is available in the database or not. So once the application, the server interacts with the database and send back the request to the user, the information like whether the product is available or not. Next, once the product is available, the third step is placing the order. Now, the database will send the results like the total amount to be paid, etc. So, this is the example for the three-tier architecture. So, what can be the other examples? Online banking, Swiggy, Zomato, and university result portals, Instagram profiles, hospital management systems. Next, coming to the entire architecture. As we have discussed, one tier, two tier, and three tier, the entire architecture means nothing but the n number of layers are present between the client system and the server system. These are the different layers that are present between client system and the server system. It may be presentation layer, web layer, application layer, business logic layer, service layer, data access layer, and database layer. So these are the different layers present in between the presentation layer, user interface, and the data layer, server layer. So depending upon these number of layers, we will give the number n here. If only two layers, 1 and 2 are available, then we can say it is 5-tier architecture because the first layer is user interface and the last layer is server interface. So depending upon these numbers, we can give the number n here. So the example for the entire architecture, as we have previously discussed about online shopping sites, Amazon, Flipkart, or enterprise. Here, opening the website is first layer, and browsing or adding the product comes under the second, and proceed to checkout is the third step, and placing the order is fourth step. Here we have four steps, so it is a four-tier architecture. Similarly, the other examples for the entire architecture are large online banking systems, large hospital management systems, enterprise cloud applications, and ERP systems. So here comes the simple comparison table. 1 tier, 2 tier, 3 tier, and n tier. For these architectures, we are comparing 5 different features like how many layers are there, what is the database location, and how it provides security, scalability, and with one example. In 1 tier architecture, there is only one layer, and the database location is within the same system as the user interface. It provides low security. Scalability is also very low because needs to failure. Real example is MS Access. In two-tier architecture, we have two layers. Database location is different from the user interface, that is server system, and security it provides medium, and scalability it gives moderate scalability when compared to the one tier and three tier. The real example is ATM system. In three tier architecture, we have three layers, and we will be having separate database server, provides high security, high scalability. Example is Amazon. In the entire architecture, we will be having more than three layers, and dedicated database server will be having. It provides very high security and very high or excellent scalability. And the real examples are banking systems, large e-commerce platforms, enterprise applications, etc. Thank you.